Hey, welcome back, guys. So since this user has requested to join this group, this button must change to something like request sent, so that every time they come here, they can know that their request is being processed. Yeah. So how we can do that is we already have a kind of function that tells us what's going on with users in a group. So let's just go to functions.php, open that up, and let me go to the very last function that I did create, which is group access. Yes. So on group access here, one second. Okay. On group access here, we have a member, moderator, and we have admin. So we can always add more of these. There's no limit to how much of this we can test with these groups. So what I want to test for now, the access, is an invite or a request. So we'll call it a request. So all I need to do is duplicate this part from else to this point and duplicate. Then I can change from admin and I say request. So this way we get to check whether this person has requested or not. And then in order to know how to check whether a request exists, we already have a model of that in the group classes, which is this one. This is how we check there. That's the query right there. So I will copy. Now keep in mind that the reason I can do this is because this data that we require here in this query is also existent at this point, because we are supplying group data and we are supplying the user ID of that person. Okay, so we just need to ask if that person did make a request or not. So on request here, I will replace this query because we don't need to check for these rows. This is not a row question about rows, so forget all that. So the query now is selector from group requests, where user ID is equal to user ID and group ID is equal to group ID. But this time we need the row to be enabled as a request. So we're going to say and disabled is equal to 0. That is necessary now. And that's it. So just like that, we now have one more line that helps us to see if a person has made a request or not. So let's see that in action, of course. So let's go to group.php, and this is just group.php. Now let's go down to the invite, and because what we are looking for is right here. Okay, so this part only shows if you're not a member, but let's put another if statement here and show different versions of the text. Now here, instead of just saying join group, actually, when the request was sent, we don't even need a link there because we don't want them to click and send another request at all. So what we want is just to get this section by itself, copy that, and then let's come down here and paste it there. But instead of join group, you say request sent. And by the way, this same thing of the same system we are using here, where you want to join a group and then the request is accepted, it's exactly the system you can use if you want your users to have friends instead of followers. It's the same process where they send a request and then the request is either accepted or declined. So you can use the same knowledge here to implement a system like that. So here now I want to create another if statement. So here is, we are looking for group access. So it's exactly like this. So I'm going to copy this. Well, not exactly, but similar. So I'll say if group access. So we're looking for if this is true, if this person is part of the request gang, So if I am send a request, then so I will copy end if and put it right there, right next there. So let me push everything in here just like that for easier readability. Okay. So if this is true, we get that, but we need an else statement because we don't want both of these to show at the same time. So what we will do, just to not disturb what I have done here, I will move this up there, okay, and then I will duplicate this to make an else statement here, and so I will say else, but put a full colon there, of course. So if this is true, we get here, else we get there. Okay, but all this only happens if I am not a member. All right, so good going here, but I need to negate this. I'll say not a request, then I show this if it is, then I show that. Okay, so ready to go, and I will refresh. So now it's showing me that my request was sent, which is pretty good. Now let's come back here and delete the record just to be sure that it will change if there is no record. So it says join group now. If I click on join group, it says request sent. Good. Now if I browse here, come back and edit this and change the disabled to 1, meaning that now it is disabled. Then I refresh, it will show me that my group, I did not send the request. So if I can still click on join group and send another request, and it is back. You'll see here it hasn't created a new record, it has just sent the disabled back to where it was. Okay, so I think you can see the general idea here of how to send a request. So that request was sent. The only thing now is the admin should be able to see the requests list down here and then choose who to accept or decline. All right, so we'll do that in a later video. I will see you then.